In this video, we're going to be building a long-term prospect nurture. So the strategy that we're going to be implementing ensures that if someone is not ready to buy now, they don't slip through the cracks and become a totally lost prospect. After all, just because they don't buy now doesn't mean they can't in the future. The high-level strategy behind a long-term prospect nurture is to reach out every once in a while with a small bit of value and make it easy for the person to request a phone call. So for the context of what we're going to be building in this video, we're going to be building a 6-month nurture that delivers 3 quality online resources. Of course, as you'll see, it's easy to extend it to be a longer nurture depending on the nature of your customer's buying cycle. So specifically, we're going to look at setting up the campaign model, setting up the campaign variables for all the resources, writing the emails, and then making sure the bubble up mechanism is good to go. So we're going to start by dragging out the high-level model here. So we need a stage goal, which is in long-term nurture, rather into. So when the sales rep moves them into the long-term nurture stage, that's what's going to start this whole thing. So here we have the 6-month nurture. And then our link click goal is going to be the bubble up mechanism. So they're going to click a link that says, please, hey, give me a call. And so they're saying, please contact me. At which point this is going to notify the owner of the sales opportunity, because remember, that's what's kicking this whole thing off. And this whole thing is going to stop if they ever go out of long-term nurture. Because if they go out of long-term nurture, it doesn't matter necessarily where they're going, but this automation needs to stop. So this is the high-level model, and we're going to model out the individual sequences as we go along. So now we're going to set up the campaign variables. So we're going to set up a merge field for each of the resources. So long-term nurture resource number 1, I'm going to copy that. And then, for example, we're just going to say resource 1 title. So whatever this is. And the reason we're doing this, and as you'll see when writing the emails, we want these resources to be able to easily swap them out. So if we have like a really great blog post that's killing it on traffic, or you're noticing that a lot of sales are coming from people that read the blog post, then you can pull one of these old resources out, swap it with the new one. So we're going to go ahead and do this 3 times. And remember, you can always add as many of these as you want. We're basically going to deliver 1 over every 2 months, basically. And then that's how we get our 6-month nurture. So we've set up the titles. And of course, this would be the actual name of whatever it is that we're sending them. And now we're also going to set up the links for this. So we have the campaign merge field for the titles of the resources, and then we're going to have the actual URL of the resources themselves as well. So my clipboard still. And then of course this would be the actual URL of, resource 1. And then our third link. So basically for every resource we have, you're going to want to make sure you have a campaign merge field for the title of it, as well as a URL campaign link to it. Okay, so now that we've configured the campaign variables, we can actually begin setting the model up itself. And we're going to go ahead and knock out the 2 easy ones quick. So double-clicking on this, so we're going to say this is when you're moving into the long-term nurture stage. And then this one at the very end is when they go out of the long-term nurture stage. Nice and easy. So let's go ahead and set up this sequence. This one is going to be really simple to do. So this is where the meat and potatoes of it is. So in this case, we're actually going to use legacy emails specifically because, at least as of this video, there's no way to do thank you pages easily in the new builder. And that's mainly the only reason why. The only workaround I found is to use a landing page and hide the submit button, but that's way too advanced for what we're doing here. We're just trying to build a nurture. But that's why we're going to be using legacy in this particular video here. So we'll go ahead and drag out the emails and the timers, and we will set these up as we move along here. Save ourselves some time. If you didn't know, you can highlight stuff, and at least on a PC you can hold control and then click and drag, make duplicates of stuff. And if these are actually configured, it would duplicate the content, you know, everything. And then we'll have one more at the end. Alright, let's go ahead and start setting this up. So the context of this email is as soon as they're moved into the long-term nurture. So actually what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and pause this video while I put in the content, and then we'll come back and I'll explain what we're doing here. So be right back. Alright, so here's the email. And it's just a light-hearted, real quick email. There's no links in it, nothing. What we're doing is we're pre-framing for emails in the future because the sales rep has spoken with them. It's not going to happen right now. Cool, no problem. Just so you know, I'm going to be sending you an email every once in a while. So that's kind of the whole point of this email. Nice and quick, no links, nothing. The whole point is to frame that you're going to be sending them emails. So for this delay, we're going to go ahead and have this wait 2 months. So it's going to be 2 whole months until they hear from you again. And we're going to say weekday, 8 a.m. contacts time zone. So now we're going to go ahead and set up this first nurture resource email. And again, to save time, or at least save you time, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. So be right back. So here's the email. Now remember, it's been 2 whole months since they've heard from this person. So it comes at 8 a.m. So we say, good morning, hope life's been well. As promised, here's the resource you might be interested in. We're closing that loop from that email we sent 2 months ago. Same thing with the subject line, as promised. It's been a while. That curiosity factor is going to go ahead and help with that open rate there. Now this is the actual merge field for resource 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and link this to the campaign link for resource 1. So for this response mechanism at the bottom here, this is going to be at the bottom of every email. And this is specifically why we have to use legacy today, at least, because of this thank you page option. So when they click on this link, this is basically what they're going to see. It's just a confirmation message, really. And it's basically, they click the link when they say, hey, I'm ready to talk. You know, I was in long-term nurture, they're going to bubble themselves up. So basically, hey, you got it, and I'm happy to hear you are ready to explore this again. Well, there you go. Gotta love the old builder. This is actually super legacy, the old tiny MCE one. Okay, and so this is what they'll see when they click on that little thank you page. Of course, you can spend way more time making this look pretty, but this is at least functional. So we will save and close this, and there you go. So now we've got this email here. It's ready to go. I'm not sure what happened with the size of this guy. Okay. And here, I'll just make everything all the same size, or at least attempt to. Okay, so this is the first nurture resource, email. And all the other ones are going to look very, very similar to this. So at this point, this email is ready, good to go. Back to our campaign here. So for this delay timer, same thing, 2 months, and sending it at 8 a.m. And we might want to space these out just a little bit, just to make it a little easier for people to understand what's going on here. Okay. So to save ourselves some time, I'm just going to go ahead and right-click and make a duplicate of this. Because this is going to save us, again, just save us some time here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording again, make some slight adjustments to this, and we'll see how the second nurture email is supposed to look. Or not necessarily supposed to look, but one way that it can look. So as you can see, this is very similar to the last one, really direct and to the point, because the idea is that we can easily swap in and out different nurture resources. Now you can of course spend some more time writing some more context about what's in this resource and what you know what it specifically talks about. But if we're just looking to keep it general, be able to swap out content, this is fine. Remember, it's a 2 months after they got their last email from this person, and it's just a real quick, hey, here's something you might think is cool. So in the subject line, more goodies for first name. I've observed that, and again, this isn't necessarily like a rule or anything, but putting a merge field at the end of a subject line can definitely help with open rates, especially if it's been a while since they've gotten an email from you. Merging the month in here so that way it obscures that the sales rep didn't actually sit and type this out. Make it a little harder for people to figure out this is automated. That's also another reason why these emails are short and to the point, because again, if a sales rep is sitting and typing this out, they're not going to sit and write a whole book. So this is the merge field for the second resource, because this is resource number 2, and this link is going to the second resource as well. So again, structurally basically the exact same thing as the last email, and this is even the same PS as well. So that's why I kind of recommended copying this, because it'll just save you the time of having to configure this thank you page every time. Of course, you can always just grab the source HTML and copy and paste that too. But there you go. That is the second nurture email, so we can say this guy is ready to go. And then for this third one, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. 2 months, run on a weekday, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and pop it in the afternoon in their time zone here. Let's give ourselves some more space. And again, to save time, we're going to duplicate this guy and give it the proper name. And get this last email going here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this again and get this last email out the door and see you in a second. So for this third nurture email, this is coming 6 months after they were put into the long-term nurture. So we're using that angle. So another goodie for you in the subject line, and since this is coming in the afternoon, we're going to say, hey, good afternoon. Remember, if we do it right, the person receiving this is going to think the sales rep is actually sending this. So nice and quick. It's been a while since I checked out. Since I reached out, here's another resource. It's called blank. Chances are you're going to love it. So again, this is the merge field to the third resource. This is pointing to the third campaign link. And the magic here at the bottom in the PS. This is in the PS intentionally every time because it needs to not scream at the person, hey, I'm still trying to sell you. It should be coming as a, hey, here's something cool, giving you some value. And then, oh, by the way, if you're ready. So that's why we keep in the PS really low key. And again, this is set up for the thank you page that we've copied before. And this email is ready to go. So then what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just have another 2 months, see if they do anything. They're just going to sit here for 2 months after getting this. So someone, in the worst case, if they do nothing, they'll be active in the sequence for 8 whole months. You can, of course, add other resources in here and drag this out as long as you want. Doesn't necessarily need to be 2 months in between. But for this example, that's what we're doing, because we're assuming, again, really expensive item, long sales cycle. So at this point, our sequence is actually ready to go. So we can go ahead and our sequence is ready. So now here's where the PS connects to the automation here. I'm going to double click on this link, click goal, and we're going to configure it for the PS links only in these emails, because if they click that, they're saying, please contact me. So this is the link that we want to be looking out for. So again, even as you go through and look at this series, it's very low-key and casual, and that's kind of the whole point. We don't want to necessarily spam these people and risk them hitting unsubscribe, because that's way bad for the deal. They're just in a long-term nurture right now, so let's just remember to, let's just stay top of mind with them. That's what we're trying to do. So the last bit is notifying the owner. In this case, we can use a regular email. And this is going to be an email to the actual sales rep themselves. So you can have some fun with it. I like to do lead bot. And then the two, I'm actually going to grab the merge fields that I need for this right now. So we need the first name, last name, and their email. Because remember, this is notification to the actual sales rep. So it's not going to go to the person. We're going to have it go to the owner. All right, there's a space between there, and there's their email address. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and fill in the rest of the content, explain what we're doing, and then we're basically done. So the subject line is, it's a bubble up, call first name at phone ASAP. It's coming from LeadBot. And it's a transactional email to the owner. Hey, they responded, call them ASAP. And then we're giving them instructions. Remember to update this opportunity record whether you reach them or not, and then we're sending them to this contact edit page link. This is a merge field that lives under the additional contact fields up here, and when someone clicks on it, if they're not logged in, they'll log in, but then it'll go right to the contact record, which means they can update their opportunity record as they've been instructed, and then given a little personality. Beep beep, have a great day. So now this notification email is ready to go, and the sequence is ready to go. And at this point, everything's configured. We can go ahead and publish it, and the next time we move somebody into long-term nurture, it's going to go ahead and start that off. So when a user moves a prospect's opportunity into long-term nurture, into that opportunity stage, the prospect automatically receives communications for the next 6 months. In each communication, the sales rep is providing them with something of extreme value while also making it easy for the prospect to request a call. If the prospect requests a call by clicking on the link in the PS of each email, the sales rep is automatically notified and can continue working the opportunity. To ensure a great customer experience, whenever the opportunity stage is moved from long-term nurture, they move out of it, the sequence is automatically stopped. So there's a couple enhancements we can make here. First thing we can do is have an additional PPS link for someone that's no longer interested. So we can say no longer interested. And in each email, we won't do it for all of them, we'll just do it for one of these examples. We can include a PPS. You know, basically giving it out and say, hey, and listen, if you really aren't considering me anymore, yeah, save us both time and click here. You know, no hard feelings. Gotta let them Gotta let them off the hook so they don't feel bad. And then this would just be a thank you page like anything else, or rather like what we've seen in the rest of these emails here. And we need to write this. Basically, it just says, okay, great, you know, no big deal. You would have that in every email, so all the resource 2, 3, and so on. And then that would be connected to this link click goal. And so how the other one was looking for this one, we're specifically looking for this. So it's kind of like an anti-goal. Just kind of giving them, you know, giving them some control over their experience. And then we would notify the owner, hey, you want to move them to lost. So maybe it's the same email, or maybe it's just a task that says, hey, move them to lost. However you want to do it. So regarding the resources that we're handing these people, if we can, mix up the types of resources we share. Different people respond to different kinds of content, so make sure you have a healthy mix of written word, spoken word, videos, presentations, stuff like that. One thing also to point out again is you want to mix up the time of day that you deliver these resources. For example, we're sending them in the morning, and then the next one, the last one in the chain, is coming at 3. We might even change this to come so no emails are coming at the exact same time, further simulating how a sales rep might actually work. So feel free to experiment with sending on the weekends, since these emails are going to be pure valuable content. Remember, the high-level strategy is to make it easy for people to bubble up. It's entirely possible that your offering would only be seen when they check their email over the weekend because they're overwhelmed during the week. Another thing you can try is mixing up the communication channels. As long as the return on investment is there, we can send direct mail pieces at certain steps in the nurture. In that case, make sure there's still an easy mechanism for the prospect to respond to the mail piece. So this strategy can also be initiated by other mechanisms besides an opportunity stage move. For example, this can be triggered by an internal form, a note template, an API goal, or even a tag goal. So keep in mind that while we specifically built this for stage moves, you can use this general idea with anything else that may cause someone to be in a long-term nurture. Another idea is to take this strategy and expand it to a customer nurture as well. So in that case, maybe a product purchase would actually start this nurture going. In the next video, we're going to look at sending automated appointment reminders.